And recording. Wait, no, not yet. Now we're recording. Here to talk about our Lord and Savior, Cthulhu.
Our Lord and Savior, Cthulhu.
Episode, I don't even know what episode this is. It doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter. Do you like my, I don't know why the fuck I felt it was so necessary to, do you like my sweatshirt?
Yeah, dude, that's dope. Did you make that?
I did. For everyone listening, you should probably be fucking watching. I started this design last year because I wanted it to be on like a snowboard, and then this was like December of last year, and I sent it to a bunch of snowboard companies, and surprise, they didn't automatically be like, "That's awesome, let's hire you." And because I'm a moron, I was like, "Well, now I don't want this design anymore," and I decided to finish it up from some latent inspiration in October of this year, and then decided to put it on a hoodie. It's Ball Bazaar with like a gray, like an alien gray, and then like the pocket and the cuffs are the 1947 newspaper from Roswell.
Oh,
so it's an actual scan of the newspaper.
that's dope.
You go in and actually read the article on it. Yeah. It's on the, yeah. RAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. Yeah. And then it's also, because it's a newspaper, there's like other things from the region, like post World War II, like tax cuts and shit. So it's really weird, but yeah, this whole thing, I made this. It's and it only transfers to a sweatshirt so well, but it's an 8K resolution image. So it's just, but I put all these, like, I just found all these images and I turned them into vectors and put them on a blueprint because I wanted it to look like a blueprint. And then on either end, it's Lazar. Like this is the full image across the top. Like Lazar, it's like a rectangular image, but it's blown up and stretched on different shit. And yeah, man, I think it's dope as fuck.
It is, man.
Isn't that, dude? I feel.
Is that a flying saucer on the back?
Fuck yeah, it is, dude.
That's dope.
What a moron, dude. Of course it is. Yeah. And I was thinking about maybe I should have put the newspaper in here as well, inside the hood. Oh yeah, and it's got alien on the side. Yeah, man. Fucking, of course, I tried to sell fucking apparel for 2 years and couldn't get anything going. Then decided to start a podcast, and now I'm making the coolest apparel ever. So, fuck me, right? If the podcast gets big enough, because it costs like $50 a month to operate a store on Shopify. If the podcast gets big enough and I get some dough rolling, and I'm gonna open up a store, like a podcast apparel store. And it won't be necessarily it'll be to break even, but I'm not gonna like run it to like turn it into a business so much as just like, because if I do that, I'll get caught up in like making shit that I know people will buy versus like I would just rather have dope shit. Like I don't care if 3 people buy it. Like it's just dope custom shit that there's none other in the world of. But seeing as how I can't go a single episode without talking about myself and how great I am. Fuck me. But whatever episode this is, it's my buddy Doran Durant, which I didn't, until last time we talked, I didn't know your name was pronounced Doran. I've been calling you Duran for like 2 years.
Oh yeah, dude. Everyone messes it up. So like I cared in like 2nd grade, but after that, dude, it's like I don't fucking care. Everybody's fucking getting it wrong. Why the fuck does it matter,
Just change your name to Dorian. Or like Dorian Yates, that bodybuilder, Dorian Yates is badass.
Nah, I don't know.
Yeah. How was your Thanksgiving, man?
It was good. I'm separated from my family right now because I'm in southwestern Utah for college. And my family's in southwest Idaho, so that's like an 8-hour drive.
Yeah, fuck that.
And I didn't have time off of work either, so I just stayed. So I made myself some sweet pork and spicy noodles. It was pretty good.
Right. Fucking right, dude. Yeah.
What about you, man?
It was fantastic. I went up and saw my family in New Jersey, cousin and brother. One brother couldn't make it, but I saw the others. Yeah, and we were there. A bunch of people I don't know, but we were there, and like within 10 minutes, me and my cousin Tim, and there's going to be an episode coming with that. He was just like, what do you think about like Alex Jones and interdimensional aliens? And I was like, let's fucking get into it. We just did that for like several hours. I ended up recording like 30 minutes of it, but Yeah, the interdimensional aliens, and he was like, "Have you heard that episode with him and Rogan? Like the second." So Alex Jones has been on 3 times now. Episode 911, then episode like 1455, and then he came on again a couple weeks ago. But the middle episode is my favorite one because he's just it's peak Alex Jones, and he goes on this rant. And he went on a rant in episode 911, and I'll link it in here. And then someone put it to some like music from a video game, but it's like this 5-minute rant, and it's about like the globalists and the elites and like how they want to plug us into some silicon brain and control our thoughts and actions. And he's just going on for 5 minutes without taking a breath. And then in episode 1455, he does it again. He goes on a second rant, like partway. So the same person found that clip and then added the same music. It's like the same amount of time. So now there's 2 of them, and I'm waiting for this guy to make the third one. But I love that rant so much. It's like the elite are all about transcendence and like living forever, and no one wants to die. And they're here to destroy you. They don't want you to have free will. They want to dominate you. And this is how it is. Einstein predicted it. Max Planck predicted it. There's all these dimensions, and dark matter is seeping in through the edge of the universe. And it's just 5 minutes of just the best. I mean, meme quality. Every line is a meme. And so I went through that video. I went through those 2 videos last summer 2019. And I played them in like slow motion, and I typed out the transcript of what he said, not knowing that I could just go into like YouTube. You can actually just go in and like there's like something you can press and you can get the transcript because they make captions for everything. But sometimes the captions aren't right, sometimes they butcher it, and I wanted the exact words, so I went in and I typed out like 2 pages of words from him, and then I took those. I then took Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, like 4 arms and like the 2 legs, the famous like picture of like the naked dude, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I took that and I removed the guy's head and I put on Alex Jones's head. But I made it look like it was a Da Vinci drawing. Like it's not just like a picture of Alex Jones. I made it look like that sort of like pen on parchment. And it's Alex Jones's head on Vitruvian Man. And then and I went in because you can go into like the Smithsonian or like Wikipedia, and they have like 6,000 by 6,000 pixel scans of like Da Vinci's all of his notes. Yeah. And so I went in and found the original Vitruvian Man, and this took me like 30 or 40 hours of work over like 3 days. No, it was over like a week because it was like 8 hours a day. I need to get a haircut, man. It's just poking out on the side like a moron, right? Like a jackass. But I went in and I erased all of it, and then like I found a font that kind of looked like Da Vinci's handwriting, and I wrote the whole Alex Jones rant behind him. So it's Alex Jones as Vitruvian Man with this whole rant behind him. Looks like it's scribbled in like notes on parchment paper that's been there for 500 years. And then I took that whole image and I made a negative of it. So I just inverted all the colors because it was too bright. It just looked like parchment. You couldn't really read it. So I made a negative of it, and it's this like weird, like the majority of it's this weird, like black, blue, dark, like midnight sky color, and all the words are in this like weird gold tint. And I put that on the sweatshirt, and that's currently in the mail. And I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I'll find an image of it. I love. Not that you asked, and apparently this is just a product.
No, you gotta show me at this point.
Yeah, it's fuck. Let me pull it up. Let me drop these images onto my computer, and I'll pull them up, and then I'll share them with you. Yeah, dude, it's nuts. And I made that one last summer too. But unlike the fucking shit, how do I do this? We might break up with connectivity in a second, just letting you know.
Okay.
But we're all good. It's just it might be a moment of it. But unlike this one where I wanted to put it on a sweatshirt or on a snowboard, the Alex Jones one, there was never any intention for it to go anywhere. I just wanted that. And but because I put so much time into it, I was just like, fuck, I might as well use it. Let's see, how do I drop this in a chat? There we go. To everyone. How do I Your computer. Let's see if I can only drop these one at a time. Are you getting it on your? Wait, I can just text it.
Yeah, I got it.
You did?
Yeah.
So for everyone watching, I pulled it up on my screen. And these mock-ups obviously aren't in HD, so they're a little pixelated. The actual sweatshirt will be fucking amazing, but these mock-ups are. I'm gonna text them to you as well. Let me know when you get my text.
Oh, I haven't pulled up on my PC right now.
Okay, I just texted you the rest, and I have them up on the screen for everybody watching. Is yeah, it's just Alex Jones is the Vitruvian Man with just his scribbles. If you go through and read the scribbles, it's actually him saying the whole. It's the whole rant. Like it's not just random words. It's like 2,000 words of an Alex Jones rant. I mean, across the cups, across the whole thing is just.
That's perfect, man.
Isn't it awesome? Yeah. You can see the cuffs is what the original color was going to be. That's the original like parchment, but I was like, that looks too much like skin. And like I didn't want to be wearing this thing. It just looked like a creepy like extension of my skin. So I inverted it. So because it's not perfect black and white, the inversion wasn't black and white. It's this weird. I'll send you the full res. I put the full like all these images, by the way, for everyone listening. Put them online for free. I don't. There's no like you have to buy it. Like you can download it, put it on whatever fuck you want. But yeah, the full thing is. I don't think I can play the rants because I think I'll get my channel yanked. Did you just copyright?
How much does it cost to make a sweatshirt like that?
Like based on price, I don't know. It's like this one. It's just like I don't know. It's like 58, $60. Yeah.
Wow.
They're fucking off. And that's the thing is I kind of hope to start making these and like I said, open up I think it'll be cheaper if I open up an actual podcast apparel store. But I don't know. What do you think about them? Do you think I should open a podcast apparel?
I think they're dope, dude. But yeah, I mean, it's probably smarter to wait till you have more subscribers.
Yeah, because I don't want to open it up and then like no one buy anything and me just be like, what the fuck? Why am I running the store full of like Alex Jones and Bob Lazar apparel? Like, these are like novelty pieces. Like this isn't some. I don't know. Maybe if people are as woke as I think they are, they'll buy them. But yeah. So apparently this is just a product placement podcast.
Product placement.
Yeah, but they're not for sale. Not really.
Yes, I got 2 Tiger Tank for sale.
Yeah. yeah, I get to but yeah, I'm also hesitant to open a store because like all these that like I made, these were made and like they're ready.
Bro, I don't know. I just think that like major like science lovers like you and me, like kids that go to college, get a science degree, and then they just like fucking nerd out. I think they'd love that shit.
Maybe if the podcast gets bigger, I will absolutely fucking like mass produce.
Dude, but that Da Vinci one is such a meme. I love it, dude. I love it.
Well, that's the thing with Shopify. Not to plug Shopify because they don't give me anything. So go fuck yourself, Shopify. They run a human trafficking ring. They are not to be trusted. They sell heroin to children. I'm kidding.
Wait, really?
No.
Yeah,
I'm kidding, but they're not. I'm kidding. They don't sponsor me. So until they sponsor me, I'm not rescinding that. I'm not rescinding that statement. If they sponsor me, I'll start plugging them in a positive light. But since I'm giving them free PR right now, I'm going to throw in a little caveat. I'm going to throw in a kill switch. They eat children. They eat children. So just you guys give me a podcast or a sponsor, I will rescind that statement. I think this is called blackmail or extortion.
Oh man, that reminds me of like the fucking what is that region in China where all those factories are?
All of China.
Yeah.
Mainland China.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I just have a hard time like realizing that's real life. Like even like World War II with the Nazis or the Soviets. Like I read the Gulag Archipelago and I was like, is this fiction? Like
yeah,
there's
weird.
no way. But like you realize it's non-fiction. You're like, holy fuck! Like I didn't know that.
Like that's the norm. Like America's the exception. Like, that is the norm of human history.
Yeah, it's
Is
just
brutal hellscapes.
yeah, man. Not good.
This is why I fucking fly this flag for every episode, because that's why we live in a Garden of Eden. Has a lot of
Yeah,
problems. Has a
yeah,
lot of problems,
but
but relatively, it is a
it's
Garden of Eden.
yeah, it's the best system. It's not perfect, but it's the best
You
system.
can
Like
find the dream girl. You can find your dream girl, and guess what? She's still gonna have mornings where she has bad breath or where she's a little bitchy to you.
yeah,
But just because that doesn't mean you can be like, well, and she's not gonna, I'm not gonna be her, so I guess I'll keep hunting. You're gonna be hunting until you're 90, and then you're dead. All right? Because we all have human flaws, but you find the person that is the best person for you, and they have their own little ticks that you have, like we all have, right? I mean, not me, I'm perfect, and not you, you're perfect. But like all the other mortals walking this earth, right? All these disgusting creatures of meat and flesh. We are light beings. Duran and I are perfect in every way. We honestly, it's a gift that people get to listen to us talk because we are perfect. We are God is made in our image. All right. Didn't want to say it, but I said it. All right. It's the point being is like, right. That's what America is. America is your dream girl. All right. And there are some problems that we all have, but relative to every other bitch out there, is the best thing in the world.
oh yeah,
And it's so people that complain about it are people that are going to die alone because they're like, well, she or he or she, he better be, what is it? He better be 6', 6 abs, and have a six-figure bank account. Like, hey, I respect the ambition that you're going to find your king, but I mean, it's probably not going to be that. You can
yeah.
keep hunting for that. You're probably going to die alone. It,
Well, in my opinion, I think that our schools do a horrible job of teaching 20th century history
our
because I think,
schools are communist indoctrination camps.
yeah, they are. But I mean, like if they did a better job of that, I feel like people would be more grateful for what we have here,
Yeah,
and they wouldn't be so
it's not an accident though.
pessimistic.
Isn't that what Brezhnev said or Khrushchev said? Communism will come to America, but not from the shores. It will be raised up. The communist flag will be raised from within.
I think so.
Yeah, no, he's not. It's that's why. I mean, it's exactly what it is. These are communist indoctrination camps. Unless you're getting unless you're getting a STEM degree, you are going there and you're paying them to be indoctrinated to hate this country.
Well, it's moving into STEM pretty quickly.
Good, because if you're not getting a STEM degree, you're wasting your fucking time. I mean, if someone else is paying it, you go, sure. Go fucking hit up those parties. Game days are fun.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm taking two humanity classes this semester, and like one of them's on history, man, and like it's supposed to be about Western civilization, and I was hoping to learn about the pillars of Western civilization. What makes the West great,
Natural
but
law.
instead it's been this is an oppressive system and this, that, and other thing, and this is how women were treating these societies. And it's like, okay, I get it. Like,
A lot of
not
problems.
everyone's been allotted like that kind of freedom over history, but like we're doing a pretty damn good job now. And so to sit there and criticize with like a postmodern ideology, it's kind of just it doesn't make much sense to me because it's like I wanted to take this class so I can fucking learn about why the West is great, not why the West sucks. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, criticism should always. I mean, free speech should always be allowed. So, I mean,
yeah,
whatever you want to say about America, that's not. I don't think that's what you're saying, and I know that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't shit on the flag. Like, tear
yeah,
the
yeah,
country apart by all means. That's how things get better, right? Go back to the first episode with me and Duran. Like, in that moment, if you had criticized the episode, I probably would have said like, "Hey, like, take it easy. This is episode one." Relative to everything else, there were no episodes, so now this is something better than nothing. But also, you have to criticize it. So now we can look back and be like, look how far it's come. Audio quality, video quality, or even just ability to sort of flow with conversation. It's the same thing. America is episode one. And like you can criticize it, but like there's no other like utopian society. There's no other I mean, maybe some other first world nations, UK, France, right? So, but by all means, you got to criticize it because that's how it gets better. Even as great as America is, 1776, right? I would say it really started in 1791 when, Second Amendment. But I mean, a lot of growing pains, right? I mean, I don't know, slavery.
Yeah.
Women's ability to vote, the draft, like a long way. And I hope in 200 years we look back at 2020 and be like, man, we were doing good, but God, we were friends. Because that means we're growing,
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, what's interesting to me is like when you read about Jefferson and those guys when they were writing those documents, like some
Yeah,
of the stuff they wanted to include was very controversial for the time.
yeah.
And because they had to have those papers ratified by every state, they just didn't put some of it in. And unfortunately, one of those things was slavery, which led to a lot of people's deaths and you know just horrible lives. So it's
One of the
like,
things they wanted was no slavery.
yeah.
But they knew they couldn't get everything ratified. So okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They knew that
yeah,
they couldn't get the southern states
sure.
to get along with it.
And when you
Uh,
got to look at the big picture is let's create the nation now.
yeah, and so it was like the dream that they had was the the society is based on the individual, not the class structure, not the collectivization of peoples. You know, it's the individual, and you lift the individual up by giving them freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their whole belief. And nowadays we're seeing the complete opposite of, oh, the way you give people freedom is by collectivization. It's like,
Is
no,
it's
no, no,
slowly
no, no,
turning
no, no,
into it's
no.
slowly turning into like we're being granted freedom. And it's like that's not what it is. Like we have
Yeah,
freedom and we allow the government to do things. It's slowly turning into what will the government let us do, which is just that's the same equation throughout human history that has led to
well,
events.
it's like if
Well,
you're not doing anything wrong, then you have nothing to
you
worry
got
about.
nothing to hide. Well, if you
Fuck
got
you.
nothing to say, then
Yeah,
yeah. Well, if you got nothing to say, if you're just like an introvert who doesn't speak up a lot at parties, or you don't have a podcast, or you don't like social media, so you don't go out and say, well, then why do you need the First Amendment? If you got nothing to say, why do you need it protected? Quit bitching, man.
yeah.
Why do you got to plead the Fourth, bro? What's your problem? You know, why do women? Why do you need why do you need your right to vote? Like you don't vote anyway. Like what does it matter? It's no, fuck off. I
Yeah.
don't ever plan on shooting heroin. I don't ever plan on smoking meth. I personally think that, and I'm being completely serious. I personally think that we should all be allowed to do whatever we want. We're adults. There are laws. People are, well, what happens when everyone starts smoking meth? Well, like we have laws for when you drive your car drunk or when you interact in public drunk. Just apply those to every high. So I'm not even trying to go down that rabbit hole. Is just because I don't at this time want to smoke meth, but I do happen to like to smoke weed occasionally. Well, I have to apply that to everything because one day I might want to try. Who knows? Maybe I'm on my deathbed and I'm like, fuck it, let's live a little, right? Seriously. Even now, where I haven't actually smoked weed like combusted flower weed with like a lighter. I don't know. I think maybe this summer. But even then, like, but I do like it, but I don't smoke it now. But that doesn't mean I'm like, oh, it shouldn't be illegal because I don't use it now. It's like, well, no. What if I want to use it one day? And furthermore, what if other adults like to use it? Just because I don't want to doesn't mean that they shouldn't be allowed to. That's the
Well,
same
it's
thing.
like
It's
they've exploited that situation so well. The
you know,
pharmaceutical companies have. I
yeah.
mean,
You know what's fucking hilarious though?
yeah,
We're talking about it on Thanksgiving because like right first it was weed, right, and it started in Colorado and then it spread to other states, and then the next was like decriminalize psilocybin, right, and it gets its foot in the door and now it's spreading to other states. I think DC just decriminalized it, and now we're seeing in is it Oregon or Washington
yeah.
State
Oregon
legalize
basically,
or
yeah.
decriminalize like meth and heroin. But you know what's fucking hilarious is that weed really was the gateway drug.
Yeah, it was. I think it's interesting what Oregon's doing. So instead of, sending you to jail for those drug violations, I think what they're doing is they send you to rehab instead, which is something that some of the Nordic countries do.
That's a good thing. Like that, it's
Yeah, I mean they're treating it as a health issue, not a
yeah,
moral issue, which I think is for the better, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. It absolutely is, right? If you're not doing well in class, don't get kicked out of school. It's well you can, but it's also good to be like, hey, maybe you should go through that class again and maybe go get a tutor, right? It's and that's the thing back to like criticism of America. Like there's room for a lot of criticism and there are other countries that do shit better than us. And there's nothing wrong with looking at that and being like, let's do what they do because that works.
Yeah.
It's But back to the America's bad, America bad, America bad. I mean, I know this sounds like such like a South Park, like angry, pissed off redneck, but fucking leave. Like it's, and I don't mean to even like, well, then you can get out. Like, it's no, I mean, well, if you're riding in the street and you want to burn down cities, then yeah, you can get the fuck out. But like, if you don't like it, like, I mean, I'm truly saying that from like a place in the heart. Like, then leave. Like, if you don't like, if you don't like your major in college, don't just sit there and say, I fucking hate being a math major. Change to a biology major, like for your own happiness. So if you are truly miserable in America, if you truly believe this is a fascist dictatorship, then leave. Like, if it's truly that bad. Now, if you want to stay, you want to make it better, then yeah, keep, get socially active, maybe write your representative, maybe run for politics or run for office, run for office. But if it's truly you think it's hell on earth and it's a fucking fascist white supremacist dictatorship, then just
Oh
bounce.
man, that reminds me of this YouTuber that I follow. His name's Krot.
What is
He
it?
targets Krot, like
Hey,
the German Krot.
Kraut.
Kraut, yeah, Kraut.
Kraut.
Yeah. He so his YouTube channel is all about targeting the alt left and the alt right, which is really interesting. But one of the things he did an episode on healthcare, and it was really, really interesting. And one of the things that he told his viewers in America was like, hey, like if you really want socialized healthcare, you shouldn't just sit there and expect your government to give you a good plan. Like if you really want it, what you do is you start writing drafts for your own socialized healthcare in your own state, and you do it by state basis. You don't just sit there and bitch. And
Yeah.
I thought about that and I was like, yeah, that's true. Like if you really want change, you got to basically do it yourself. You can't just sit there and
Well,
bitch and say, oh, well, this leader sucks.
that's the sort of, but isn't that's like the hilarious like catch 22 of the problem?
Yeah.
People that desire like true socialism and communism, not generalized. I am generalizing. I don't give a fuck. This is my podcast. We can do whatever we want. Spotify has child labor shops. They sell baby parts, but right. But you got to think about like the right. It's socialism and communism is. I saw a meme. It's like communists are just incels for wealth. Changed my mind. But it's like the very people that want this group thing where they can get everything for free are people who want everything for free because they are not individuals who will work for what they have, and thus they're probably not going to work to establish the system. Like,
Well, I think that reflects perfectly on what we were talking about
grand
earlier.
monologue.
It's
I really got to. I really got
all
to.
right, all
I
right,
got to
yeah.
pee. I got to pee. Can I go to the bathroom, man? Can I go to the bathroom for 1 minute without you just
I
judging
don't know,
me?
can you?
I don't. This episode, this podcast is over. I'm coming for you. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Can you? I don't know, Duran. Can you monologue? Doran, not Duran. Doran. Doran.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, Junior. Everyone that was hoping for an intellectual podcast, I know I just had on a lot of great guests recently. I know I had a lot of authors. This is not that episode. So
Well, I mean, we can nerd out if you want to, but I
no,
mean,
we're gonna do whatever.
I want to.
No, I know the first 28 minutes might have been teased into thinking that there's a discussion coming somewhere. No, it's not. It's right. It's like Euro Trip. I watched the gay porno once. The chicks never came. The chicks never came. Like I watched a retarded podcast once. Like the intellectualism never came. It's not coming. All right. All right. This podcast is happiness. It's just around the corner. Just keep buying shit. It's just around the corner. Fulfillment's right around the corner. You just buy that car and buy that house. It's right there. There's nothing. It's already peaked. You can't because there is no peak. All right. Maybe I won't even go to the bathroom now. I don't know. I cannot go to the bathroom. Durant, monologue.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is like what we were just talking about, it kind of reflects on a bigger theme that we see our founders endowed, which is the importance of the individual in the West. And so this kind of comes from the Hebrews, and it comes from that region from Mesopotamian society, right? Where the Jews in the Bible, the Old Testament. And this was one of the ideals is, things are based on the individual. It's up to the individual. And so we are based on that Judeo-Christian idea here in the States where it's about uplifting the individual, not the collective. And so I think what we see with a lot of our problems is that it's the reflection is that the policy, it's for the collectivized, it's not for the individual. And I think that we do wrong when we create laws or policies like that. I think that we need to do a better job of uplifting the individual. And by uplifting the individual, we'll be more free. Ultimately, is what it comes down to. Because when you collectivize, you kind of have to take away some of your freedoms.
You gotta take away all the freedoms. Like,
Yeah.
like if we're gonna do this like communism thing, then let's do it better than any other nation's ever done it. And by that I mean let's get the new high score for slaughter, right? Who killed more, Stalin or Mao?
Mao.
Mao.
Yeah, Mao was a fucking
What was his top score? What was his high score?
I think Mao was somewhere in the range of 60 million.
That's pretty good. We've got 340 something. I bet we could easily break 100. America.
Yeah, let's just
If we're
get
gonna
rid
do
of
it,
all the doctors and lawyers first, just like
well, yeah,
Stalin.
yeah. Well, no. Well, I mean, if we're gonna do this communism thing, let's fucking do it right. Let's not tiptoe. I want tank columns on every highway. All right. Let's straight up everyone RFID tag. Let's do a 21st century communism. If we're gonna do communism, let's do it better than China. Let's everyone gets tagged with a fucking kill switch right on. Actually, no. Everyone gets an implanted strip of like C4, the size of a postage stamp, right here, right, and it's got a barcode. It's got your social credit score, and I want it to be plugged in via Elon Musk's Neuralink technology. And so, not even tracking someone down to their tweet or their Facebook post or their history. As soon as the thought leaves your cerebral cortex that I don't like the government, that is the activation for that C4 postage stamp. And it just blows your fucking brains out wherever you are, right there. So
We'd all be dead.
even if it's an involuntary thought, even if you're just one day you're like, oh, I wonder what a free market would be like. Boom! Just like a shape charge. Just you get JFK'd right there, no matter where you are. And yeah, I mean, if we're gonna do this, let's just do it better than any other nation's ever done it. And maybe through this ruthless system of just blowing brains out, maybe we could not genetically, I don't know, like breeding animals, right? Or breeding like what Gregor Mendel, what was that fucking loser? He did like pea plants,
Yeah.
or whatever, or better yield corn. Like if we're gonna do this, let's blow out the brains of everyone who not thinks about anti-government, but who has the capacity to even think about anti-government. So those that neural wiring, let's just eliminate that through selective breeding and C4 implants just from the get-go, to the point where we have a bunch of drones who can't think about how they don't like the government. Like if we're gonna do communism, let's do it so bad that we will scare any other nation from ever trying it. Because clearly, despite 100 million dead in the last century from communism, there are still dipshits, there's still room temperature, mouth breathing retards out there who want to try this faggoty system. Let's not do that. Let's kill more. Hold on, Duran. Let's kill more people than anyone has ever done before. And let's also wipe out every other non-communist country. Let's establish a global communist hellscape, so brutal in its methods and so vicious in its efficacy that no one will ever want to create or even touch communism again. If we're gonna do it, let's do it. Like if I get, it's like the dad that catches you when you're like 12 with a cigarette and he makes you smoke a whole pack until you vomit. If we're gonna do communism, we're gonna do communism so hardcore that the CCP is gonna start, they're gonna be like, maybe we should have like a second amendment. Like we're gonna turn them into a democratic utopia. Sorry.
I mean, you have a good point there. But I mean, so you think about why those hard left ideologies are like so
Never die.
well, they never die, but they're so wanted, I'm trying to think of the word or whatever.
There is like an innate human desire for that thing,
Yeah,
right?
there's a big desire for that. And so I think Solzhenitsyn, he wrote a lot about this, and I believe he also spoke in a lot of his speeches about why it's so desirable, and why liberals on the left, why they get tempted into it. And it's the same way that people on the right get tempted into the alt-right or into fascism. It's because, once you say this little thing, then you start getting dragged because, oh, well, that's not the whole picture. You have to have the whole picture. Oh, we need more collectivization. We can't just do that to fix that group. We have to go all the way. And
Yeah,
so it's kind of like one of those 0 to 100 things. It's like, well, you have to go all the way. And
yeah,
so I see people on the left and they get tempted into that whole train process. It's like, there should be no billionaires. It's like,
yeah,
okay, well, you're having that thought. You're not far off from being a bloody communist. You're really not.
yeah. Right. I'm gonna get new rims on the car. Well, the next step is I'm gonna get like leather upholstery.
Yeah.
Well, then you're gonna get a new subwoofer. I mean, it's just let it go, and you're gonna go till you have no money, or until you have a Lambo.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so like that's one of the things that I see as well, especially with some of my friends that are more progressive is
Mm-hmm.
I see them tempting that line. And it's like you want to tell them like, hey, like that's really dangerous, but you don't want to upset them because you don't want to hurt their feelings.
Well, everything upsets them and hurts their feelings, but that's also part of America, right? Part of America includes your freedom to dabble with those ideas, which is why I think it's the best system that's ever been created. Because even
Yeah.
these things that you and I hate, communism, this system includes your right to go dabble with that. You can go just like you can try meth or heroin. You can go try communism, and that's why it's the best system because this system technically includes communism.
Yeah.
People can vote for it. No other system allows for you to do that. Communism doesn't allow you to play with democratic republics. It's this system allows you to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
It even allows you to vote for something that is predicated upon your inability to agree to disagree. It is the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like it's like, you have to know your history to really appreciate it.
Well,
Like you
luckily,
just
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, we did. Yeah, definitely good to know your history. That's why we don't ever have to worry about tearing down statues or erasing people from the internet, right?
Yeah, we might as well
I think that's
just
a good thing.
start having firemen go burn books and everything.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
one can read because reading's dangerous because you'll get the wrong ideas.
that's what I'm saying. If we're gonna do this
Yeah.
whole communism thing, if we're gonna pull down statues, let's kill everyone.
I mean, like in middle school, we read Fahrenheit 451. I don't know about you, but like our teachers made us read that book. And so like I don't really see that many people from my high school, make those ideals, except for the really oblivious ones, you know. But I see that everywhere. It's like we should censor this or we should censor that. It's like no, 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 no. That's not how you do it. That's not how you take care of that problem. The way you take care of that problem is through dialogue. You
Yeah,
don't block their idea. When you
but
do that, you give a justification. You
yeah,
don't want to do that to Nazis.
yeah.
You
Well,
don't want
that's
to give them that kind of power.
yeah, because you're making them martyrs.
Yeah, you don't want to do that to racists too, dude.
You
It's
want to do
it's
it to
like
everyone.
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like,
If
well,
I'm,
this word is offensive. It's like, dude, like, I don't think you understand what kind of power you're giving them when you say that word is
I've always,
offensive.
I've always said that about. I mean, the N word, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I've always said that by making those words, by making them that you can't say them, you give those words so much power. You because think about it, it is magic, and I've made this argument before, and I'll die on this hill.
yeah,
Saying the N word is magic. Because what is magic? Magic is an uttering of an incantation, a verbal incantation, which has an effect at a distance. So a fucking Avada Kedavra, and I wave my wand. I didn't physically touch you, but then you die, right? You at a or whatever. I make you float, or I make a fucking cupcake appear, or whatever. All the Harry Potter like Levioso, right? You start floating.
yeah,
Saying the N word is magic. It's an incantation that you say at a distance, and without laying a finger on you, I can throw someone into a fit of rage that I dared utter that, or maybe they start crying. or maybe they don't feel safe or they feel unwelcome. That's magic. It's an incantation. Now, what about cracker? I can say cracker because everyone I can say it. No one gives a shit. We're slowly moving into where you can't say faggot or retard. But even now, for everyone listening, faggot, retard, you're a retarded faggot, right? You can see where part of it starts. Those are slowly moving into N-word territory. And now that I say those words to you listening, faggot, retard, do you feel that little uncomfort in your brain, in the base of your brain, maybe right below your heart? You feel that, ooh, I don't know if I like this part. I don't know if I like Tommy saying that. That is an incantation. I'm in Maryland. Whoever you are listening to this, you're Florida, you're Virginia, you're in Maine, New Hampshire, wherever, you're listening to that. I am not anywhere near you, faggot, retard, but I'm having a physical effect on your brain. That's magic. That's an incantation that I'm saying at a distance. I don't need a bullet. I don't need a man on the ground. I don't need a forward operating base. I don't need a drone strike. I am just saying a word through the ether at light speed, and I'm making you uncomfortable. The only way you can get rid of that comfort is because you can censor me, but then I'm just going to pop up later and say it again, and it's going to have that much more of an effect because now you haven't heard it in a while. Maybe you don't hear it in a couple of years, and then I come out and I say, faggot, retard, and it makes you even more uncomfortable. You're making my magic stronger. How do you take away my magic? By making that a normal word. It no longer is bothersome, like the word pineapple or glasses. Notice how those didn't affect you at all? It's because they're not magic. That's magic. So by making all words acceptable, you are robbing me of that magic. Now, who's going to use that magic? Someone who wants to hurt you. No one's going to say that because they want to make you happy. I'm using this as an example. But what if I wanted to hurt you? What if you happen to be homosexual? I say faggot isn't like, yeah, you're being a loser, dude. You're being a fucking faggot. Stop stealing the basketball. Let's go play a game. But what if I want to hurt you? What if you so happen to be a homosexual? What if you're attracted to men? And I don't have a problem with it, but what if I am that guy and I want to hurt you at a distance? You're listening to this podcast from Maryland. Maybe you're somewhere in Britain and I'm saying you're a faggot. And that makes you uncomfortable. Well, I have now been able to inflict my hatred on you. You can rob me of that by just getting rid of that word or just by saying it. There's no magic you can say to me. You're a stupid cracker. You're a Nazi. You've already called it me 100,000 times, so it has no more effect on you. You can't do anything. You can't do magic on me. So that's why I think we need to get rid of all the taboo around those words. Not because I think that we should, not because I want to say them to hurt people, but for the exact opposite reason. Get rid of them. Rob them of their power.
Yeah.
I keep interrupting you, Duran. I'm sorry.
No, that was a perfect rant. Like
Thanks, babe.
I will die on that hill too, dude. Like, you don't like this book because this book challenges your views on, I don't know,
Then go write a bad review on Amazon.
by homosexuals or
Yeah.
whatever, whatever, dude. But like, the thing is when you start banning books, it doesn't stop there.
No.
It just continues.
I seek out Alex Jones videos harder now. I don't just go, oh, it's because, right? My cousin asked me, he's like, speaking of interdimensional aliens, he's like, have you seen the Tim Pool Alex Jones podcast? And I said, no, I have not.
That's
I looked up on YouTube and I saw that YouTube deleted it. I can't find it. It took me a couple days to find it. I couldn't find it on BitChute either, which is a little, I don't like that. I thought BitChute was supposed to be freedom. But I finally found a mirror of it on BitChute. And I'm going to watch it tonight. Nothing. It didn't keep me.
Yeah, I watched that one live. It was pretty good.
That's awesome. Please don't spoil it.
Well, one thing that happened in that podcast, I have to tell you about Tommy.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah,
they started mentioning certain things in the podcast. It disconnected right as they mentioned it, and I was like, wow.
What, election meddling, Pizzagate? What is it?
They mentioned a dude's name.
Eric Kiramella? Isn't that the guy's name we're not allowed to say?
Well, it has to do with the CIA agent.
Eric Kiramella.
That was with the Trump gates or the Russian gate, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Ugh, got a pain in my neck. Hope I'm not having a heart attack.
Yeah, the thing is, dude, like, man, that whole Russian gate thing. Like, when I heard that in 2016, I thought the time was perfect for Hillary because everything was coming out about her emails, right?
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, this near theory about Trump comes out, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna believe this because it just sounds like a counterintelligence is what it is. And then 4 years later, or 3 years later, rather, we find out for sure that it was counterintelligence. It was bullshit.
Hold on, turn up the light. Get a little bit of a headache. Yeah, that's weird. That's never good.
Yeah,
Never good. Nothing good comes out of it.
yeah, but yeah, wow, man. I mean,
Good
wow.
episode, though.
I don't know, man. It's just kind of whack to me that some people think that's a good idea, especially, when we have books that very explicitly spelled out for them that this is not a good idea.
Well, it's easy because now you just gotta censor those books that say this is a bad idea.
That's
The
true.
whole thing is based on censorship. The only way, right? Che Guevara, you cannot have a communist revolution with a free press. So you gotta censor that to have this. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Maybe right? I mean, we see it with like the Exodus from California, right? Texodus. Isn't that
Oh,
but that's what Akira the Don calls it? Shout out Akira the Don, episode 86. But yeah, Texodus. Everyone's leaving because
well, it's like my home state. Like they're growing very rapidly because of that.
but these fucking locusts then leave and vote for all the shit that caused California to be what it is. Right?
Man, I doubt it's gonna happen in Idaho. Idaho has been red for the past 50 years. I mean, it's like, if you look at this last election either, like you don't vote for a Democrat in Idaho if you want to vote because nobody tries to like go be a legislator that's a Democrat in Idaho. Everybody's on the right. So you always it's like you always register as a conservative just so you can vote.
Well, don't forget, at one point in time, California was red and it would never go blue.
That's true.
And now it is fucking more blue than this sweatshirt. So these communists work on decades-long timelines. So don't say it can't happen.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. I was watching Forward Observer, your friend Sam Colper's
Sam
channel.
Culper? Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching him, and like he was talking about the zone that you would go to if balkanization ever happens in the States, right? Which is pretty much like Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana because they're the most self-sufficient. And I was like, wow, like I didn't know that Idaho is prime real estate, But
Absolutely is, dude.
yeah, the Idaho and pride, like
Oh, yeah.
we're really prideful for our state. So, yeah.
Yeah, the first things to fall are going to be all the cities. Those things are just fucking death traps.
Yeah.
There's a reason why urban warfare is the worst. Just this little shitty, everything's right on demand, everything's delivered just on time. Those things are death. Right? It's what actually happened with the election. What actually happened with the election? Do you think we're going to see anything?
Well, one of the things I told myself after election night and the day after when everything kind of weird happened, and I'm saying it's weird because I don't really know what's going on. It didn't make sense in my mind. I don't really have like a absolved position for it, but I will say if they do have evidence and it does stand up in trial and it is proved that this was a big conspiracy to steal the election, then America is gonna go into some very rough times. I mean, we're gonna see the rioting times 3.
I think we need to then, right?
Yeah, it's true.
If you have a bratty child and you're finally deciding that you're going to start being strict, and you can't talk back to your mom, and you can eat ice cream every night, and you're going to bed early, the first thing you're going to think is, fuck, well, this kid's going to start throwing temper tantrums as soon as I start trying to be a parent. Well, you know what? That's part of the growing pains. But you do it and you work through it because eventually they're going to be a good kid. But you don't go, fuck, this kid's going to throw temper tantrums. I bet he said I don't want to do this. Yeah, you know what? There's going to be a lot of rioting. That's the cost of this. But
yeah,
because if you can steal, then elections no longer matter. Because if you can just take it, it doesn't matter. And it's okay. I know watching the Joe Rogan election night End of the World podcast, End of the World #2, the first End of the World podcast was 2016. And then I stayed up all night. I stayed up till like 5 a.m. I was watching Stephen Crowder. I was watching CNN, which I never watched, but I was just watching CNN. I was watching Fox. I was playing Sniper Elite, and I was killing Nazis. But I was listening to all that. I had them up on. I was right here. I was playing video games. I was listening to everything on my laptop. And it got to like 4 or 5 a.m. and I was like, all right, I'm going to bed. Because I looked at it and I screenshotted it. I screenshotted the electoral map and I was like, okay, well, Trump just took Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Pennsylvania. I was like, it's over. Like, all right. Like, there's just a little more to do. And you can even see, if you go back and look at all the streams that night, you can see like the Young Turks melting down because they're like, Trump won again. You can go find screen grabs from Twitter where everyone's like, Trump did it again, fucking Nazi. So it wasn't even necessarily like it was a bunch of pro-Trump, because Steven Crowder is obviously far right, or I would say right. So not even to just use those biases. I was also watching leftist channels. I was also on Reddit. I was enjoying the salt, the flow of the tears. But I was watching all of these. So people on the right were celebrating. People on the left were just so pissed off because Trump did it again. And I went to bed. And I woke up. No, I remember right before I went to bed, I watched Trump give his like press thing at like 2 a.m. It's like, this is the latest press conference I've ever done. Frankly, we won. And then one by one, those main states started saying, we're finished counting. When the first one said that they're pausing counting, I thought there was a terrorist attack. I legitimately thought it was like something bad happened because like the count stopped. And I was like, oh no. But then I just saw that they stopped and I was like, that's weird. I was like, I feel like in a US election, that's something that you count through the night. That's important to get finished. But one by one, it was like, oh, now they paused. Now they paused. I was like, these are all swing states and they're just pausing. And I was like, and Trump's in the lead of all of them. And I was like, that's curious. And I went to bed and then, they needed to pause because people were tired. But I guess they weren't that tired because they decided at 4 a.m. that they were ready to get back at it, get back to the old grind. And one by one, they started flipping. And so in my mind, I don't look at it as this grand conspiracy that Trump's got to pull this off. In my mind, whether or not I like Trump, I was watching everything say Trump won again. I was watching people that hate Trump get angry because Trump won again. I was watching on the screen, on the electoral maps, on CNN, MSNBC, NBC, Fox, OANN, Newsmax. I was watching all of these, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. They're all showing Trump won again. I watched all of these things say that, and then I went to bed. And so in my mind, I watched him already win. So it's not necessarily that and again, this is obviously I like Trump. I go off about how much I like him. But even if I didn't, the reality is like I saw him win. So to me, it's like until that's proven otherwise. And it just, didn't they rule yesterday that Pennsylvania, the legislature is going to appoint their own electors? Because if they think there's fraud, they can throw out the general vote and vote for who they think won, which means it's going to be Trump. CNN last night, what's today, the 29th, 28th? I don't know. Last night, CNN put up an article that said Trump's path to victory. CNN put up an article saying this is Trump's new path to victory. So now they're starting to say Trump could win. Duran, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Duran. I thought you were just being quiet this whole time. You've been muted.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can.
Okay, yeah, my mic plug-in's a little finicky, but
don't worry. You're lucky you're so beautiful. Otherwise, I would get angry about your audio. But you're such a looker that I'm just like, you know what, man? I don't care about your audio. I'm just like,
well, it's like, yeah, man. One of the things that I have noticed was the misrepresentation of facts going on. It's like, oh yeah, Trump's lawsuits got thrown out, so he has no chance.
There's still no president-elect.
Yeah, that's another one. That's a big one. It's like they're claiming. Yeah.
Google right now, and it's been that way for 2 weeks. Google has it. He is the president-elect. Wikipedia, that's factually incorrect. My super liberal friends say that's factually incorrect.
Yeah. It's like, why are they pushing this? That's the bigger question, right?
Yeah, sketchier. That's what makes it all the more sketchy. You're just, right? You hit the game-winning shot, and you might have not got the ball off on time. You might not have got the three-pointer out of your fingers before the shot clock went off. And the sketchiest thing you can do is have your whole team run to the locker room. We won. It's over. Rush the field. No. Watch the replay. Everyone get off the court. Get back in the stands. Come back out of the showers. Game's not over. Don't dump the Gatorade on the coach, right? That's the sketchiest thing you can do. We won. Run into, teams do that. They run into the locker room. It's over. It's finished. Blah 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 blah. I can't hear you. Sorry, I keep interrupting you, Darren.
Yeah, no, you're right, dude. Like that's a really good analogy for it. Like I think that describes it perfectly, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know, man. Like just a misrepresentation of facts, like the president-elect, or oh yeah, all Trump's lawsuits got thrown out, so he has no chance. Well, it's like, okay, well, they're not Trump's lawsuits. The lawsuits that got thrown out were by individual people trying to file for Trump's favor. Those are the ones that got thrown out. And so, as we see the evidence, or that I don't know if you watched that press conference. Was it yesterday or 2 days
It
ago?
was a couple
With
days
your,
ago. There was like a 3-hour there was like a 3-hour podcast conference, and I downloaded it and meant to watch it on my drive up to New Jersey, but I completely forgot about that until you just said it.
yeah, watch it. I won't spoil it for you, but like there is some pretty damning evidence that they brought up.
I mean, finding USB sticks that have 50,000 votes on them, 50,000 for Biden, none for Trump or the Green Party or the whatever the fucking or Joe Jorgensen, none,
Yeah,
nothing, zero.
yeah,
I mean, Jesus, if you're gonna fake it, at least give them like 100 each. You could then, even then, you could have argued, well, it was a fucking landslide, but zero, right? If you cheat on a test, you never cheat to get 100. You cheat to get like an 88, right? But these people just Christmas treed 100-question test and got 100 right.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. It sketches me out because like I have this feeling in my gut that Trump's right about it. And I think that feeling comes from the whole Russian gate thing, right? At first everybody was like, oh yeah, he's colluding with the Russians. And then 3 years later, we found out it was just bullshit.
Yeah, and it was just oopsies. Guess we were wrong. Sorry.
I will say, if Trump's wrong, it's a genius strategy because what he's doing to the left is exactly what the left did to him in 2016.
If Trump actually lost and he knows he lost, I would be extremely disappointed in what he's doing. Because this isn't about my guy winning. This is about the process being preserved. And I say that sincerely. Like if Trump actually lost, then then Biden won. Right?
Yeah,
Because if the person won that I don't like, but they won fairly, well then fucking okay. Them's the rules.
yeah, them's the rules. Yeah,
You know
it
what's
is what it is.
exactly. It is what it is.
It is what it is, man.
Wait, did you
Yeah.
watch that Tim Dillon rant?
What?
Are you talking about the Tim Dillon rant? No.
Nah, nah, nah. I'm talking about like the meme.
Yeah, well, no, his ends with like it is what it is.
Oh,
But it's. I don't think he lost it, and again, this could very easily be my cognitive dissonance that I like Trump, right?
yeah.
When I liked Obama, I wanted him to win, and he won.
Man, I'm not a fan of Trump. I'll say that, but Joe Biden scares me even more. And one of the reasons for that is like his position on China. It's like, oh yeah, they're competitors. Like we should see and watch them and help them grow. It's like, I don't know about that, Chief. Like I
Yeah,
really don't
yeah.
know about that one.
It's a hard no on me, bro.
Yeah, that's a hard no on me too.
Hey,
Like no,
I'll
hell
call.
no.
Yeah, I'll call you. I'll meet you there, right? No, dude, no. The CCP's stated goal is to destroy America and to subvert any constitutional rights. Rule by law, not rule of law.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't. CCP they are the Soviet Union. The beast never died. We
yeah,
wounded it. We wounded it really well, but we should have walked up afterwards, right? Like Thor and Thanos. Thor put the fucking his whatever he has, his big battle axe thingy, through his chest. You should have gone for the head. And then he went in at the beginning of Endgame, right? I went for the head, and he did it. We should have gone for the head. We mortally wounded the CCCP, the Soviet Union. We should have walked up and we should have double tapped it in the forehead, but we didn't.
yeah.
Now
I mean,
it crawled over just next door to China, and it started feeding on them. Like a tick
well, it's
on
like
the neck. And now
So Kraut has, or Kraut, or however you,
Crap.
yeah, he has a video on the whole Chinese thing, and he talks about Trump, one of Trump's biggest failures when it comes to China. And it's a very interesting video to watch because he spells it out very, very clearly what the Chinese are doing and how historically knowledgeable they are and how well thought out their plan is.
The 100-Year Marathon by Michael Pillsbury, as well as Stealth War by Brigadier General Robert Spalding. Listen to those two books, and you will understand just how much, as evil as they are, you got to respect your enemy. What China's war is brilliant, and it is the long, long, long con. They have plans decades out. They started in 1949 with them cooing the world in 2049.
Yeah.
I've just been brutally interrupting you this whole podcast, more so than normal.
Huh? Oh, dude, I haven't even been noticing. Like, whenever you say that, I'm like, oh, like.
I think I'm trying to interrupt people less, but I need these episodes. I love having on authors. I really do. I don't have on any authors that I don't want to have on, so it's not like it's homework. But I definitely miss these podcasts, right? Because I like to give authors the respect I feel they deserve, which is, stay on topic to their book. I give them, a lot of them are busy, so they got 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And I like those. I like those a lot. I legitimately do. I wouldn't do them if I didn't want to do them. But man, I do miss these episodes where it's just whatever.
Sweaty orgasm.
Yeah, just sweaty orgasm. Yeah, it's not right. It's not that awkward love where you're right. You go out and you right. It's right. I like these episodes because those episodes with authors, those are all first dates. Those are all you're wearing a polo that's like not comfortable, and you combed your hair over, and you go into the bathroom and you're checking your face, make sure you don't have any boogers, and you're like, yeah, you go ahead and check your breath, and you go and sit down, and you're using your best manners, and the reality is like if you had your own way, like you wouldn't right. The real best date is after you've been dating the girl for a couple months, and now a date is like, yo, do you want to like smoke a joint and go watch like King Kong in my apartment and get high as fuck? Like that's a good date, but you can't do that on the first date, right? You gotta play the game. I like these episodes because these are like you and I are in like a comfortable. We've been dating for 10 years, right? There's nothing we can do. Like we can shit with the door open now. We fart in front of each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We've had bad days. We've seen each other at our worst, and that's what I like about these podcasts. It's just at any given time we can just start talking about testicles, right? Start talking about Cthulhu's cock.
He has a big cock.
Fucking massive.
Massive cock.
Massive. Fucking Cthulhu, man. Did you know that between, and by the way, let me know, because I can keep talking. I got no, I don't know what you have doing, because I'll talk to you forever. You just talk.
Let's end at 3 my time, which I think is 5 your time.
Fuck yeah, hell yeah. That was the right answer. I know I said there's no right answer, but that was the right answer. Gave me another half hour because I'm not finished yet. Do you think that, I don't know, what do you think happens? There's like two trains of thoughts I want to go down. One was right after World War II, when we had the A-bomb and no one else did, there was actual genuine discussion about should we like nuke the rest of the world so we're in charge before anyone else gets nukes. That was like there's an Annie Jacobson's DARPA, the Pentagon's brain. There's like a whole chapter on it. There was like public discussion about like, it's like if you were in a room and everyone else, and you were the first to successfully build a gun, and everyone else just has like a bow and arrow, and you've got like an AR-15, and you know that they're all working on their AR-15 programs. They've all got their Manhattan projects. There's a part of you that's like, should we just shoot all these people before they can develop anything, and then we can get back to our own development? We decided not to. We were actually debating just nuking like most of that continent. And we did.
Asia?
Yeah. Like everything other than like the UK and like France.
Oh, are you talking about like with Truman, like basically telling
like
China
right
to
after,
fuck off?
No, like right after World War II, this was like a public debate. I think Truman's quote was, "We could lick the world if we wanted to." And there was a debate, like, do we go, because we know the Soviets are trying to develop nukes, do we go and just take out their development plants so that they can't, and then we'll just take our sweet time and we'll just march through and just nuke their cities one by one, basically smother these potential threats in the cradle, right?
Well,
Kill the baby before it becomes a monster.
I think Patton was right about how the Soviets were just as bad, if not
We should have,
worse.
The war shouldn't have finished with the Japanese and the Germans.
Yeah, it should have finished with the communists too. But I mean, how many millions more of lives would have died? It would have been a big sacrifice. I'll say that, but it's kind of hard to put a price on that too, because you see and you look at a lot of the evils and a lot of the entanglement we have now is from that Cold War era.
Yeah. But then you also got to look at it from like that, because we have hindsight, but you also got to look at it from like within that time, right? How many young men have just died in the European and Pacific theaters. And then it's like, if someone's like, we're not finished yet, we're going to get the Soviets, you'd be like, what? I thought they were our allies. And they'd be like, they are right now, but they're going to be our enemies eventually. You'd be like, bro, did we or did we not just win? Did we win? It's over, right?
Yeah.
Like the professor being like, you technically don't have to come to the last day of class, but I'd really like for you to. You'd be like, is it going to affect my grade? No. Peace. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so imagine trying to say that to a war-weary nation. Let's go take out the Soviets. You'd be like, bro, no, we just finished. It's over.
Yeah. I think America was really tired at that point too.
Exactly. It's hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But should we have just nuked them?
Probably not, because we now know that how bad nuclear bombs are for the environment.
Oh, that was like woven into the discussion. They were actually planning on making them worse. They wanted to salt them with cobalt so that you couldn't inhabit that area for 100,000 years.
Oh, the cobalt bombs, yeah.
So this wasn't like a negligence thing. This was like, we were like, hey, they'll be able to re-inhabit Hiroshima one day. This was not that. This was like, let's make that a denied territory for the next million years. So that wasn't like we don't know how bad bombs are. They're like, we know how bad they are, and I think we can turn it up a little bit. Duran, your image just turned black.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it just got really dark. Oh, did you dim your screen?
No.
That was weird.
I think it's because of my camera focus.
You're like, I just see like your silhouette. Oh, there you are. Now you're back. Sometimes there's like a feedback system. If I turn down my screen light, obviously it lights me up less, which means there's less light on the screen, which means it lights me up less. And it's like audio feedback. So it'll get really dark if you start to make it like dark. And then it'll get a lot lighter, not that you asked, but Cthulhu is risen.
Cthulhu. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. Like that's a hard discussion to be had.
It's a brutal discussion.
Like
it is the surgeon saying like, do we let the patient die or live? Like, let's be honest, right? It's that hardcore, detached, but necessary discussion.
Yeah. I mean, man, like as bad as the Soviets were, and like we now know this from like Solzhenitsyn's writings, primarily, his writings, we could say did take part in the fall of the Soviet Union because it exposed them completely.
Is it good that we didn't kill them? Probably
Yeah.
is good.
I mean, it probably is better, but who knows? Would it have been better, without the Soviets?
Yeah, it's also very easy from like my standpoint to like make that call, right? Because how many innocent Tommies were there in the Soviet Union? You don't have to worry. Your light keeps dimming, but it doesn't actually matter. It just, right? I can still see you. I can still see your beautiful eyes. It doesn't actually, right? But how many like Tommies were there? How many guys that just like wanted to like go take over their dad's farm after dad died and then just like get married and like have a couple kids? Like, why do I get to rob that from them? Well, you're in the Soviets and we just got to take them out. Like, bro, I'm just like, I drink mead on Friday. Why do I think this is like the 1500s? I drink beer with my friends on Friday. Like, They're World War II vets too. They just happen to be Soviets, right? They,
Yeah.
just like us coming back to America. Like, I just want to go to a Yankees game and eat a hot dog. Like, I don't want to think about war. How many Soviet guys were just like, I just want to go drink vodka and like shoot guns with my friends? Like, we somehow managed to survive World War II. And then who am I 75 years later to be like, we should have hit them with nukes? like, like, but then you have to think, even if we did, we wiped out the rest of the world and we just set up an American millennia, which sounds an awful lot like the 1,000-Year Reich, right? Who's to say that that wouldn't have eventually grown until eventually there'd be sections, right? It's kind of like cancel culture. Cancel culture can never reach a point where it's happy, because once it's finished canceling someone, it now moves the goalposts, and it's like, no, this person's offensive. There's no
Yeah.
end, right? It's like cancer. Cancel culture is cancer, because cancer is infinite growth on finite resources. It is fundamentally flawed. So cancel culture will always seek to cancel the next thing. The end game of cancel culture is to cancel everything. Nothing can be there because it exists on canceling, right? If you are addicted to cutting hair, you're going to cut your hair, but then you're going to go and cut it again. You're going to go cut it again. You're going to go until there's nothing left.
Yeah.
So if we wiped out all of our enemies with our nuclear bombs, maybe it'd be 50 years, maybe it'd be 500 years. But eventually, the American empire would spread to these different continents, and we'd be one global America. Eventually, they'd be like, yo, but those Americans over there where Britain used to be, fuck those guys. They're not real, right? Because we see it now, right? We're America, but the rest of the world is outside of our borders. No, within it, we're like, we're Americans, but fuck those Democrats, right?
Yeah.
Well, so then you kill all of them, and eventually you're going to be, now we're all Republicans. We did it. But man, fuck those centrist Republicans, right? It just goes forever. You're just killing it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would have actually worked. I think it would have worked it would have been a Band-Aid. It might have worked for like a century. But I ultimately, right, it's censorship, right? Let's just censor this one word and then we're finished. Nope, that's not
It's
how
not
it.
finished.
Let's
No.
just censor Alex Jones. That's it. Fast forward a year and a half, and they're censoring the fucking press secretary for the president of the United States.
And the president.
And they're censoring the president. They're putting you so you can't read. I go on now. That's another thing. Cutting out a man's tongue. I have never retweeted anything in my life. I didn't even know how to use Twitter until about a month ago. I made a Twitter for this podcast, and I went on and I retweet everything Trump says, just because when I click retweet, YouTube prompts me and says, are you sure you want to retweet this? This is potentially misinformation. That's why I retweet it. I retweet everything to my 0 followers, simply because I'm like, fuck you. Retweet it.
Yeah.
If you do that on Trump's Twitter, you can't just go retweet or like stuff. It asks you. If you try to press the little heart button, it prompts you and says, are you sure you want to like this? Are you sure?
Like,
This is potentially wrong thing. I just want to let you know that it's fucking slippery
it's wrong
slope.
thing. Yeah.
It's wrong. You start liking him, next thing you know, you're going to be all about private property and natural law. This is a slippery slope, buddy. Free speech, that's a gateway that's a gateway amendment. It's free speech, right?
God, man, like it's as an American man, it's hard to like view that kind of stuff and positivity for me. Like,
you know what? George Washington and his bros, they would have been stacking bodies months ago.
oh yeah, they
would have been,
like years ago.
They would have been doing drive-bys a while ago. They probably would have been doing drive-bys around, I'd say, Eisenhower's farewell address, the military-industrial complex. They wouldn't have waited. They would have been like, let's go start killing these fucking contractors now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, we've been too complacent. I mean, I don't like violence. I don't wish for it, but yeah, we definitely let them step on our rights a little bit too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like there's something to be said for like agree to disagree in peaceful discourse. But there's also a point now where I'm agreeing to disagree with people who don't think that you should be allowed to agree to disagree. At some point, violence against them is the least worst option, because otherwise it's right. Violence to prevent communism, because communism always results in everyone dead anyway. But that's also a very slippery slope on my end, right? I'm justifying ending communism, so I can do anything. That's
Yeah.
that's just as bad as them, right? Because we got to kill him because he's against the revolution. It's like the only thing more dangerous than a man that thinks he's right is a man that knows he's right. Because a man that knows he's right, it doesn't matter whether or not he is. He knows he is. If I think I'm right, that means I'm probably still open to thinking, right?
That's true.
I
Yeah.
think Trump is the right guy. Maybe it is Biden. Maybe it is. If I know I'm right, it doesn't matter. You're in the way. I am, I'm an instrument of righteousness.
Yeah.
That's how you get suicide bombers.
Oh man. I just I just hope that this whole rioting thing doesn't evolve into that kind of mess, because I think Sam and them are right.
I think it
If
is.
it does happen, it's gonna be me, you standing in front of Starbucks, and some faggot just drives by and rolls his windows down and just blasts us to hell because we're wearing the wrong color T-shirt.
Well, luckily, they're all against guns, so they haven't been stockpiling them for the last 50 years, you know?
Yeah. And well, like that whole discussion you had with Dale, where it's like, yeah, they think they're gonna come for guns, but by the time they knock on that third door, they're not gonna be wanting to do this anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
Yeah,
That,
exactly. Like,
it's that meme, right?
like two of his coworkers died yesterday because they just knocked on the wrong door.
We went to house number one, and Billy took a 12 gauge through the face. We killed the guy and we got his gun. We knocked on the second door, and Jerry back there stepped on a claymore. We're now at the third door, and now I'm the front man. I was the third man, and now I'm the front man. How many more times are these guys going to want to keep knocking on the doors? And
Not
shit,
very
we're at
many.
the first cul-de-sac of this neighborhood. Fuck, right?
Yeah, well, it's like my home state, dude. Like they would not put up with that. They would just say,
Not
"Fuck you, feds. Like you
yeah,
could, you could suck this, this Cthulhu cock."
this big old fucking dark magic dick. But not only that, I mean, how many guys within the police, right? How many of them, instead of waiting for you to knock on their door where they kill them, how many of them are sleeper Second Amendment patriots where they're like, let's go fucking confiscate these guns. And
Oh,
first,
probably the
so
majority
think,
of them.
so think about that, right? Go to the first door, someone gets shot in the head with a 12 gauge. Second door, someone steps on a claymore. Third door, now I'm up, right? And I'm like, guys, I'm not having a good time. I don't want to do this anymore. How do I not know that the guy at the back of the what is it, like when a SWAT team gets ready to enter, like line up, pile up, when they get in a long line and they're all about to rush in?
Yeah.
How do you not know that the guy at the very back is a patriot? And while you guys are all lining up, he just fucking puts in that 30-round mag and he's like, sorry, boys. Right? So how many gun confiscating squads are going out there? Now do they not know? Some houses you open and it's just someone that says, here, you can have my guns. But then the next house, there's a fucking there's a pressure cooker bomb under the under the front doorstep, and when you press the doorbell, it goes off, right? Not only that, how many times are you going to be out there confiscating guns with your boys, and you don't know who is in on it, right? Maybe the driver of the SWAT truck is in on it, and all of a sudden you realize that he locked the doors and you can't open them, and he just drives you guys off a bridge. It's a messy situation. You can't confiscate the guns. The only way you can confiscate guns is you can't. You just thermonuclear war. But no one wants to rule over a cinder.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, dude. It's not gonna happen. It's like they're not gonna be able to just come and take guns. Like they wish they could, and they know it.
Oh yeah,
But
no. Remember, they don't want your guns. They want you. Your guns are just in the way.
yeah. And so, I don't know, man. Like,
Think think of all the shit they're doing now with censorship, calling you a Nazi, fucking hitting you with bike locks, fucking beating up grandparents because they have a Trump flag. They're willing to do that when they don't have guns and you have guns. What are they going to be willing to do when the roles are reversed? Right?
a hell of a lot more.
Right? What's North Korea willing to do when they don't have anything and they're going up against America? They still try to launch nukes at us. So imagine if the roles are reversed. There's going to be no hesitation, right?
Yeah.
And to everyone that says the U.S. government, like, oh, you fucking LARPers, all you revolutionaries, oh, you got your guns and your mags. You guys are just LARPing as GI Joes. When push comes to shove, you're not actually going to do anything. You may be right. We can't fight the U.S. government. They've got spy satellites and they've got jets and tanks. And oh, what, you're going to fight against them because you've got fucking bump stock? Like, all right. To which I would say, to these same liberals that go on that tangent, that the U.S. government would kick your ass, you can't fight them. They're the same ones that like to beat off about how we lost the Vietnam War and that we had to leave Iraq and Afghanistan because we couldn't win. How did we not win if we have this multi-trillion-dollar defense system or offensive system when we lost to a bunch of fucking rice farmers with AKs? Well, it's because they embedded themselves in and made it hell. And now instead of knocking on a door in a cul-de-sac, now it was like, bro, I don't know if I want to walk through that rice paddy. Because 2 days ago, Bob stepped on a tripwire. Yesterday, Kevin stepped on a tripwire. I was number 3. Then I was number 2. Now I'm number 1. And Chief is saying, hey, we're walking through that rice paddy today. Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
Yeah.
Eventually, despite having napalm and B-52s and SR-71s, eventually we left Vietnam because we were like, yo. And so
it's just not fucking working out.
How would you win Vietnam? You'd win it with thermonuclear weapons, but then there's nothing to rule over. There's nothing to get out of it. And no dictator wants to rule over nothing. They want to rule over people and resources. So if America really wanted to, if they were losing a revolution against the people, they would just nuke us. No, they wouldn't, because the end goal is to have a society which you can rule over. Nuking doesn't do that.
I mean, I just think of like my home state with like all the canyons and mountain lands and like huge amounts of forests. Like,
good luck.
Yeah, the feds don't know that land like we know it. Like, good fucking luck, dude.
And what they get, maybe they got satellites, they got U2s, right? They can look at all of it. You also have to think about incentive, right? One volunteer soldier is worth 20 conscripted. We're now going to have a bunch of your stormtroopers. All right, now we're going to go take over fucking, what town do you live in, Durant? Let's just name a town, name a mountain, whatever. Just Smithtown and wherever, Idaho. A lot of mountains there, whatever. Sure. Stanley.
Yeah.
Okay. Stanley. You're gonna have a couple families there, right? That's their town. They grew up there. Dad grew up here. Grandpa grew up here. Great grandpa grew up here. This is our town. This is where we were born. This is where we were raised. That's where I met my wife. That's where my kid rode his motorcycle. This is our country. And then you got a bunch of stormtroopers that you've taken from your Washington, D.C. division, and you've transported them across the nation in a fucking CH-47 helicopter, and you drop them there. You give them some MRAPs and some Abrams tanks and some air support. You got all these guys going there that don't really want to be there because they're just, these are a bunch of communist fucks that are violating the Constitution, and they're working for this dictatorship that wants to seize your guns. Not only are they going to they knock on the first cul-de-sac and someone dies, and the second one and someone dies. And not only that, they don't have the same drive to be there that you do. You are there and you're like, this is our town. This is where my grandparents are buried. Like, I am going to defend this to the death. Versus stormtroopers A through C are just like, hopefully I get to go home for Christmas. These MREs aren't that bad. And then one of them fucking catches a cannon full of nails and gunpowder and turns their body into fucking destroyed lasagna. And they're like, they don't have that same, right? They don't have that same fervor their desire to seize your guns are not as strong as your desire to defend this land, right?
Yeah.
At some point, you got to go, I'm not doing this, right?
Yeah.
It's like doctors that are like, a man will be dying and the wife will be in there and the guy has terminal cancer and the wife is not leaving his side. And then, the doctor goes in and it's like, hey, like, I know you want to stay here, but like visiting hours end at like 2 a.m. And then she looks at you crying, screaming and says, I'm not leaving my fucking husband. I've been married to him for 55 years. I'll claw your eyes out. The doctor doesn't go, I'm going to fight this. The doctor goes, okay, well,
Yeah, yeah.
I just did an 18-hour shift. I'm going home. It's not an equal to. So you're there. You got guys running out with fucking makeshift bombs made out of kerosene and skateboards, and they're going out and take out your MRAP. And they're like, "We will defend Stanley." And you're sitting there like, "Dog, I'm making $30,000 a year and eating freeze-dried macaroni to do this, bro. I'm straight up not having a good time." Right? And then you've got dictator whoever saying no. You eventually you're going to come up with any excuse to not do this. Eventually, you're going to go, you know what? Even if you don't believe it, you're going to go, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't be violating the Constitution. And all your friends are going to be like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be violating the Constitution. Even if you don't believe it, you're going to use that excuse, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%, man. Like,
right? It's you're going to
yeah,
use
we're gonna,
you're going to use any excuse to get at it.
yeah, we're gonna be those rice farmers. Yeah.
You're gonna be like, you know what? And not only that, you might join it. You might be so inspired. You might be like, fuck it, let's fucking run this shit. But you're not gonna fight with the same ferocity that they stormed Normandy or took out Okinawa and Iwo Jima, because it was like we're killing Nazis, or it was like we're killing the people that did Pearl Harbor. We're defending our land. You're gonna be like, I'm doing what? I'm being flown out to Idaho to go steal guns from a bunch of people, and like they're just killing my friends left and right. Like, I just don't see it happen.
Yeah, no, it won't happen, man. It won't happen.
I still have you for 12 minutes. Don't you dare try to leave me. Do you gotta go?
No.
I thought you were trying to ease out. I was like, you fucking slut.
You, you slut. You slut.
You big old whore. Is this
Hooker.
all just? Is this all just a game?
Yeah, it is.
I think that it's a very interesting game. It's a very interesting drama that right now we're living in a 250-year-old nation. It's got a great backstory, great character development, right? You've got places out. The map is huge. The map is Earth. Got a lot of cool variations. You can do whatever you want in it. You can start a podcast. You can join the army, join the revolution. And there were some crazy main characters, right? You got Donald Trump. Like, wow. Like, whoever the writing team was for that guy, what a great character, right? I'd love to get some fan-made posters of him. He's like an Eric Cartman, right? It's a great movie. It's a great thing. It's very interesting. It's a thriller, too. Who's going to win the election? Does the CCP rise and win? I mean, is there a sleeper team? Don't sleep on France. Maybe they take the whole thing. Are there aliens? Does none of it matter? There's one character named Elon Musk, and he's trying to go to another planet. He's just like, yo, fuck this whole place. I'm out. It seems like a very captivating story, but a story nonetheless, right?
Yeah.
This movie's terrifying, but I am in a theater watching a movie. I can't help but think that this is we're playing.
It's gonna be interesting to see where this leads, man.
No, I mean like outside of all of this.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying? Like, where it leads, like what happens next?
Yeah, well, it's like personally, like I'm not looking forward to a Biden presidency because that's just 8 more years of don't question the narrative, and if you question the narrative, you're the bad guy.
We will see fucking social media censorship that will make now look like a walk in the park.
Yeah, everybody's talking about that purge, and everyone's moving to that app. What's it called? Like Parlor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've seen like a mass exodus. I've seen a lot of Facebook posts about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I made one for this podcast. I made it like a week ago. I don't even know how to use it. But it's just because I like I said, I had never known how to use Twitter. My first experience with Twitter was me trying to retweet the fucking sitting president of the United States, and it said, "Are you sure you want to retweet this?" And I was like, "Fuck this!" So I made a Parlor.
Yeah, man. I'm just not looking forward to more of, oh well, you're practicing wrong think.
Yeah, you know what? And it's even BitChute. Like I upload to BitChute just like a backup. But I mean, hey, and I pay BitChute $5 a month because I do believe in their platform. And you don't even have to. You can get unlimited shit for free, but I pay $5 a month, and I'm virtue signaling right now. But you go there, like their platform sucks. I don't think they even have an app. And hey, it's not because I don't like you, BitChute. That just means fucking, nut up, get better. It's but it sucks. The platform is not as smooth. Sometimes you upload, you upload videos, and sometimes they finish uploading, and then they just kind of sit there forever, and no one can view them. So you got to upload them a second time. Like that's some amateur hour bullshit. But you know what? It's a platform where nothing is banned. It's so weird because you go on there and you see Alex Jones uploading every day. When I first saw that, I was like, I didn't know Alex Jones was still going. And then I realized, I was like, wow, big tech really did just remove him from my reality. Then I went to BitChute, and it's weird that I'm like, oh, I'm allowed to see this wrong thing. So I think BitChute's in its baby steps, but I think BitChute it's you can look at more and more comments on
Well,
videos.
I think, like, and not to interrupt you here,
No,
but
I don't.
I think that eventually, big tech's gonna do too much harm,
Yeah,
and that there's gonna be like a mass exodus from them, and people are going to go to these other platforms that allow people like Alex Jones to speak.
yeah.
Because I think they're going to go too far,
I
and I
think.
think they're already playing with that line.
Yeah, I think. I think that they overplayed their hand. I think if they had just kept it at a minimum, maybe did some shadow bans here, some algorithms there, they probably could have censored people effectively. That they got greedy, and now, I mean, if you just go to like Alex Jones on BitChute, you can look at like the link to the Alex Jones Tim Pool episode, which I haven't even watched yet. I went and looked at the comments last night, and again, BitChute's fucking user interface sucks, but the comments are like YouTube just actively driving business to BitChute because
Yeah,
it's like you can't. This is like this is that original like internet, that big dick internet energy, right? You delete one thing, it just pops up somewhere else, and it's like
yeah,
suck, right? That
yeah,
that was the original sort of like hardcore punk of the internet. It was like you can't shut it down.
yeah. Like we were talking about earlier, like the way you combat bad ideas is through dialogue. You don't censor them. When you
Yeah,
censor them,
like imagine if I'm just a disgusting pig, right? It's like I live above my parents' garage. I would just fucking it's just a chubby, right? I got a gap tooth. And imagine if I went to get on Tinder, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna go fucking meet sluts in my area, right? All these porn sites have been telling me for decades, meet hot singles in your area, and I'm finally taking them up on that. And I go to make a Tinder account, and I'm like, I'm gonna meet hoes. What if you were on there and you were like, no, dude, like you're not attractive, like you're not gonna get any girls, you're not allowed to use it. Well, now I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna think I'm even better. I'm like, they just don't want me because they're a hater. And the reality
yeah,
is, if you just let me make a Tinder account, I'd get up there and then realize that I got no responses and no one wanted to fuck me. And then I would go, oh, I just need to improve on myself. But if you block me from it, I'm gonna be like, they're just afraid because I got this big dick energy, bro. Versus, right? You go to a
yeah,
bar and then you get rejected by every girl. That's when you go, oh, I need to change who I am. But if someone just says you can't go flirt with her, she's gonna say no. You're gonna be like, oh, you're just jealous of me. You're just jealous of me, right?
yeah.
By pushing that stuff away into their own little like side streams, they develop and they think they're martyrs. So, Rand, you're
Yeah.
just full block again.
What?
Yeah,
No.
doesn't matter, dude. You're good.
There you
Um,
go.
five minutes, Duran. What's on your mind?
Oh man, just man, you know, it's been a hard year for me, man. So I was planning on applying to med school this past cycle, but then I decided not to because I was like, well, I need to take care of myself first. So I've been on that road. And it's been good, I've learned a lot. But like my dad, he has a lot of health issues because of his diabetes, and so he just lost his job. And so like I've just been stressing and like I can't get that off my mind, man. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's family.
Yeah,
There's nothing more important than family. But
I'm sorry, man.
yeah, it is what it is. But
Yeah, it's damn, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a good guy. He just he works himself to death is the problem.
Yeah, that Maybe that's like a microcosm of what we should all be doing. Is that like, it doesn't matter who's in office. Like, how are you with your family, right?
Yeah.
How's things at home? I have my guy, the GOP, the DNC, and it's like, meanwhile, like, your dad's not doing so well. Maybe you should be chatting with him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that, well, I think that if you have like bad relationships with somebody in your family, like you should go try to fix them because there's nothing more important.
Yeah.
And I think Jordan Peterson talks about that a lot. It's like, yeah, screw what's going on a national level. Like, take care of yourself at home first.
Yeah. Duncan Trussell has said that about like philanthropy. He's like, the mind is like, it's egotistical. It's like, I'm going to save the world. I'm going to cure cancer. I'm going to give drinking water to 2 billion people in Africa. And it's like, meanwhile, like, you haven't shaved your balls in a year. Your room's a mess. You haven't gone to the gym this decade, and like, you haven't paid your bills. It's like, take care of this first. Like, have your own little victory first. Go put the dishes in the dishwasher. Maybe run a comb through your hair, right? Your laundry. Then maybe start with like your local soup kitchen. Maybe just bring some ramen. Years down the road, you can worry about clean drinking water for half the population of the world, right? That's kind of what it is, though, right? It's like, start with.
Yeah, start small. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I took that admiral's advice a couple of years ago. Who did like a great commencement speech.
Oh yeah, do your bed in the morning.
I make my bed every fucking morning now. It's just the first thing I make my bed, because no matter what, at the end of the day, at the very least, I will have a bed that I made. But once you make your bed, you're just like, oh, like, tidy up the room. And then that leads to like tidy up everything else. And then it just starts snowballing into you fix everything else in your life.
Yeah.
Very least, make your bed.
Yeah, very least make your bed. Yeah, man. Just, I don't know, man. Take care of everything at home first.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Start with your bed. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't be right. And
Yeah.
look at me. I'm here bitching about the CCP for 200 episodes of meanwhile, it's like, hey, why don't you fucking move out of your parents' house before you're worried about the geopolitical implications of the CCP? And I'm like, but the communists, they're online and they're subverting our cyber networks. And it's like, how about let's go look at rent across town? But I don't have any money. Well, let's go get a job. All right. But the CCP is building their fleet of aircraft carriers. I get it. So fucking Domino's is hiring. Baby step.
Oh, my friend works at Domino's, man. He actually brings in fat sacks.
Well, again, start with that. Once you make your fat stacks, then you can start worrying about the war gaming of the next couple decades with the Chinese.
Yeah.
But first, go get an income, right?
Yeah.
Even this, it's like, let's get the podcast working before I start selling mass-produced Alex Jones apparel. Let's break 2,000 subscribers before, let's get to 10,000 subscribers, and then I'll worry about t-shirts. Instead of being like, well, I need people to buy this Alex Jones artwork now. So you just get her number first, and then you guys can worry about the name of your grandchildren.
Yeah, for real, man.
Damn it, it's 5. I have to let you go.
All right, man. It's been good.
You just stealing my heart, playing with my heart. You do have to come on December 12th, because that's the 1-year anniversary of the podcast, and you were guest 1. So you're gonna do the podcast every year on that date.
I'll plan for it, man.
You fucking better, dude. I will not be okay if you don't show up. I will not handle this like an adult. I will blow up a highway. I will not take this well.
I'll take a fertilizer truck into the interstate.
I will burn down a nursing home, and then when the fire, and then when the fire department arrives, I'll mow them down with my bump stocks.
Oh my god.
I am going to go to a mall dressed as Santa Claus, and when people come close for pictures, I'm just gonna start shooting.
Oh my god.
I am going to. If this video ever ends up in court for whatever reason, that was a joke. These were jokes. We're laughing. I am trying to argue that like I'm totally sane and that I'm not crazy as I'm wearing my Bob Lazar. The aliens are real. We just got to classify the UFO technology. Oh, right.
All right, man.
I don't want to fucking. I don't. I don't want to go adult.
Don't we all, man?
But I don't even have to. I don't. What do I have to even have to do the rest of the day? I need to like upload this podcast and like
Masturbate.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna take a day off of that, and then I just need to like respond to some emails or something. All right. Well, I said I'll let you go, and clearly I'm not letting you go. We're still here. We're still here. We're still talking to you. Oh, we're here in your ear. We're talking to you, everybody. I'm kissing my microphone. I'm thinking about you. Do you hear that? That's Cthulhu in the distance.
All right, man. I'll catch you later.
All right, man. I'll text you. I'll see you, buddy.
All right, see you, man.